Today we're going to make a hybrid wood and resin handle for this knife. To make an interesting hybrid handle, you need to start with interesting wood. And for that, we've got some pieces of Australian Mallee Burl. So I've had these pieces of Burl sitting around, and we sliced them up over at the bandsaw so that they fit nicely in our silicone mold. Even though I've had these blanks sitting around for years, there is still some moisture in it. And the Alumilite Clear Slow doesn't like moisture. So we need to seal the wood, at least where it's going to touch the Clear Slow. And for that, we're going to use the Alumilite UV. You can also stabilize the wood with something like a cactus juice, or I've heard of people drying it out even more in like a toaster oven, but I haven't tried that.
Now onto the casting resin. The Alumilite Clear Slow needs mixed 1:1 by weight, so I'm using a scale to make sure I get a precise measurement. We'll add some black diamond pigments. I think this was matte green. It was okay. For our swap, I used the emerald green, and I liked that one a lot better.
Be sure to always follow the instructions for your resin on how high to set the pressure on your pressure pot, and don't ever go over the maximum recommended pressure from the manufacturer of the pressure pot. It's very important. You want to tighten your lid down in a crisscross pattern, right? Kind of like wheels on your car. Okay, we'll make sure our outlet's closed and our regulators loosened up. We'll attach our air line. And then slowly dial in our regulator until we can hear the air going into the pressure pot. And then we'll watch the pressure gauge. For the Alumilite Clear Slow, we want between 30 and 40 psi. The reason you want to increase with your regulator instead of just having it up and dumping all the air in at once, you can splatter your resin and make a huge mess inside your pressure pot. Now we'll shut that off. We can disconnect our airline, and we need to let that sit for at least a couple hours. But thanks to Movie Magic, we've got some pieces for the handle already made, and we can continue. I made a couple blanks a few days ago, and these are already cured, so we can get right into making our handle. First thing we want to do is trace the outline, and you've got some extra space here, so you can really move it around and get whatever you think looks good. I'm gonna try and get half wood, half resin, so we'll see how good I can do. All right, so we're gonna rough this out at the bandsaw and clean it up with a belt sander. I went ahead and drilled the holes for the pins over on the drill press. And at this point, most people would attach the handle, but I like to stick it together with the pins. And especially if it doesn't have a bolster, you want to shape this front edge before you attach it. It's going to be way easier. Now we're going to attach our handle pieces. We want to scuff up the metal a little bit so the epoxy has something to grab onto. And for this, we're just going to use some 5-minute epoxy.
Don't be a fool. Use gloves when messing with epoxy.
While we're waiting for the 5-minute epoxy to set up, we'll check on our other blanks. We'll undo the regulator to let the pressure out. And once that's fully undone, we can also undo the air outlet. And then once all the pressure is released, you can undo the lid. So we take these out of pressure because they're cured enough, but they're not fully cured, so we don't want to take them out of the mold yet. otherwise they might bend a little bit. Alright, our handle is attached. Now we're going to take it over to the spindle sander and the belt sander and shape it up nice so it's smooth all the way around. I decided not to take any off up here, just to leave more of the burl. I think it'll be alright, I don't really need the lanyard. Then we're going to have to come back here and do a bunch of hand sanding to smooth it out and polish it up. Now for personal use, I typically sand up through about 800 grit and then hit it with some Tru-Oil. I think that's totally fine. If it's a gift or you want it a little more polished, what I like to do is a few coats of Tru-Oil, right? How they recommend, you put a thin coat on, wait for it to dry, another thin coat. It'll wipe right off the resin, but it'll soak into that wood. And then once those coats cure, you can take it over to your buffing wheels and buff it up with some tripoli and some white diamond, and that'll really make it pop and give it a nice shine.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.